Let's bring in U.S. Congressman Dan Goldman of New York to talk about this decision from the president. Congressman, great to see you again. We just chatted before the weekend when we taped Up Close on Friday, and at that point, it was a hypothetical if President Biden would step down. And I asked you what you think should follow. You seem to favor an open process, but I know that yesterday you did endorse Vice President Harris. What made you come to that determination so quickly, and what are you now urging your fellow Democrats to do, considering the time that you have left?
Well, I don't necessarily think that endorsing her means there shouldn't be an open process. Obviously, anyone is welcome to jump in. But the reality is that we have 106 days until the election. Vice President Harris has been by President Biden's side for the last 3.5 years. She was his choice to be vice president, his choice to be the vice presidential candidate for this upcoming election. And she has a terrific record to run on, working so closely with President Biden. And I think that right now, given the late date, it's time for us to unify around a pioneering candidate who will re-energize our party, who will prosecute the case against the convicted felon Donald Trump, and will ensure that we preserve and protect our democracy by beating Donald Trump on November 5th, which is the #1 goal.
So why or why not enter the White House now? Republicans have been calling for President Biden to step down, saying if he's not running for re-election, maybe he's not physically fit to continue in the White House today. So why or why not Kamala Harris entering the presidency today?
I think it's absurd to suggest that he needs to resign because he has decided that he's going to pass the torch to a new generation of leaders, recognizing that he would be 86 years old at the end of another term. The selfless act of a career public servant who has always put country over himself stands in stark contrast to 78-year-old Donald Trump, convicted felon, who is running purely for his own personal revenge and retribution tour, cares nothing at all about the country, and wants to use the presidency as a get-out-of-jail-free card for his authoritarian dictatorship. And the paradox, the distinction, the difference between the two is so stark. And when you see Donald Trump's rambling rally speeches, his nonsensical discussions about completely irrelevant things, you really start to question whether this guy is fit to be president. I think he's not. For many reasons, but including his own mental deterioration. And I urge him to follow President Biden's lead, put country over personal interest, and pass his own party's baton to the next generation.
Which is certainly something that you said, Congressman, in your statement. In the midst of all of this, let's talk about where you are headed. You are headed to the House Oversight Committee hearing. What are you hoping to hear from the head of the Secret Service today?
Well, I want to understand how there was such a security lapse, and whether it was a breakdown in communication, what that communication was, whether and to what extent the Secret Service failed to properly coordinate with local law enforcement. The bottom line is that assassination attempt on Donald Trump, regardless of how I or anyone else feels about him, is anti-American, it's anti-democratic, and it is shameful. And it cannot happen. And so we are going to ask questions about how did the Secret Service allow this to happen, because ultimately it is their responsibility to coordinate with local law enforcement and ensure the protection of the former president of the United States. There are also several things that I'm interested to see and learn about as well, including an update on the investigation. There is no motive that anyone has uncovered. This was a registered Republican who did not seem to have a significant political social media presence. And we also really need to talk about the fact that this person who's clearly unwell got access to an AR-15, a weapon of war. It was one of 2 mass shootings on that same day. There are almost 2 mass shootings every single day. And we are hopeful that Republicans recognize that this is not a partisan issue. Republicans and Democrats can be victims of mass shootings, including the former president. And we would urge our Republican colleagues to come together and pass some basic common sense safety regulations and laws to ensure that we protect all Americans.